Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Krishna Jaya Gaurabhakta. Hare Krishna. Today we will be serving Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, for those who may need a little introduction, it is one of the most revered and exalted Vaishnava scriptures that describes the biography of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, composed by very, very exalted Vaishnava on the banks of Radhakund, a disciple of Raghunath Das Goswami, Srila Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami, who is also a very, very close servitor of Sri Radha. So today's verse that we will be taking up would be from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela. Chaitanya Charitamrita has three sections. The first is known as Adi Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Madhya Leela, and then the third section is Antya Leela. So this is from Madhya Leela, and the verse is from chapter 3, 190, verse number 190. So kindly repeat after me. Gare ana kore shoda Krishna sankirtana, Krishna nama Krishna kotha, Krishna aradhana. Krishna Sankirtana, Krishna Nama, Krishna Katha, Krishna Aradhana. Gaure Yanakar Shada, Krishna Sankirtana, Krishna Nama, Krishna Katha, Krishna Aradhana. Gareyana Koro Sada Krishna Sankirtana, Krishna Nama Krishna Katha, Krishna Aradhana. Would anybody like to, Prabhus?
Jaya Sada Krishna Sankirtana, Krishna Nama Krishna Katha, Krishna Aradhana.
Gareyana Koro Sada Krishna Sankirtana, Krishna Nama Krishna Katha, Krishna Aradhana.
Jaya Krishna Sankirtana, Krishna Nama Krishna Katha, Krishna Aradhana.
Gareyana Kara Sada Krishna Sankirtana, Krishna Nama Krishna Katha, Krishna Aradhana. Mataji's. Gareyana Kara Sada Krishna Sankirtana, Krishna Nama Krishna Katha, Krishna Aradhana.
Krishna Sankirtana, Krishna Nama Krishna Katha,
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaravindra Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ji Ki Jai. Ghare Yana. Please repeat. Returning home. Koro. Kindly do. Sada. Always. Krishna Sankirtan. Chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Krishna Nama. The holy name of the Lord. Krishna Katha. Discussion of Krishna's pastimes. Krishna. Of Lord Krishna. Aradhna. Worshipping. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ji Ki Jai. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested them all to return home and begin chanting the holy name congregationally. He also requested them to worship Krishna, chant His holy name, and discuss His holy pastimes. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ji Ki Jai. The cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Hare Krishna movement, is very nicely explained by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu authoritatively. It is not that everyone has to take sannyas like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Everyone can execute the cult of Krishna consciousness at home, as ordered by the Lord. Everyone can congregationally chant the holy name of Krishna, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. One can also discuss the subject matter of the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and install deities of Radha Krishna or Gaur Nitai or both and worship them very carefully in one's own. It is not that we have to open different centers all over the world. Whoever cares for the Krishna conscious movement can install deities at home under superior guidance. Worship the deity regularly, chant the Mahamantra, and discussing the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. We are actually teaching in our classes how to go about this. One who feels that he is not yet ready to live in a temple or undergo strict regulative principles in the temple, especially householders who live with a wife and children, can start a center at home by installing the deity, worshipping the Lord morning and evening, chanting Hare Krishna, and discussing Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyone can do this at home without difficulty, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has requested all the devotees present there to do so. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manoya Vishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vedamscha. Aradhya Bhagwan Vrajesha Tanayas Taddham Vrindavanam Ramya Kachit Upasna Brajavadu Vargena Taya Kalpita Srimat Bhagavatam Puranamalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Mataidam Na Yatra Agraha Paraha Ajanu Lambito Bujau Kanakaya Udhato Sankirtanai Pitaravo Kamalaya Taksho Vishwam Bharo Dvijavaro Yugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karuna Avtaro Kadachit Kalindi Tata Vipina Sangeeta Taravo Mudabhiri Nari Kamala Swada Madhupa Rama Shambhu Brahma Ganesh Archita Padur Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatume. Shri Narsingha Jai Narsingha Jai Narsingha Praladesha Jaya Padma Jaya Mukha Padma Prinka Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasadu Yasya Aprasadan Nagati Gudobi Dayan Stuvams Yashastri Sandhyam Vande Guru Sri Chaitanya. So the verse one more time. This is actually from the chapter which describes the visit of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to at Srila Advaita Acharya's house, and in particular some pastimes before he just departed for Jagganatha Puri. So, Gare Gare Yana Kara Shada Krishna Sankirtan Krishna Nama Krishna Katha Krishna Aradhana. So here in this particular chapter, very briefly to summarize so that we can all be connected, after accepting the sannyas order, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of intense love for Krishna, started for Vrindavan. So Vrindavan is the place where we can obtain the Krishna bhakti. That is why Srila Prabhupada's favorite verse was Aradhyo Bhagwan Vrajesha Tamyas. If you want to worship Krishna, then please worship the son of Nanda Maharaj. There are many types of Krishna, but we are only concerned with the son of Nanda Maharaj. Prabhupada's purport in Bhajahum Re Manasri Nanda Nandana. So there is Krishna in Mathura, there is Krishna in Dwarka, and there is Krishna in Vrindavan. And Ramya Kachid Upasana Vraju Vadu Vargena Taya Kalpita. And if you want to, your ideal worship would be to follow in the footsteps of the gopis of Vraja. And if you want to worship any dham, then Vrindavanam, Tad Dham Vrindavanam. So like this, it is the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Bataitam, Na Yatra Agrahapara. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they say that this is our final order, and this is what we accept. And Na Yatra Agrahapara, there is no need for any other, any other line of thought or any other different types of worship. So, of course, it's not wrong to worship Vasudeva Krishna or Lord Narayana or Vishnu, but we have to understand who we are. We are in a very school of specialty, just like when a student or a doctor, they go through all the different sciences in the basic classes when they're in school, and then they go through some further, more information in the different sciences in their undergrad, grad degree. And then when they go into their, let's say, for example, medical school, then they do learn about the general, as they become a general physician when they get their degree. But after that, they do their fellowship and they do their specialization in a particular field, either a cardiologist, a pulmonologist, an oncologist, a pediatrician, etc. So we have this specialty within Krishna Bhakti in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya is worshipping Krishna and Radharani in that mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, and the real purpose of accepting sannyas by Mahaprabhu is to dedicate oneself to the service of Krishna or Mukunda. Mukunda means one who gives liberation, but Mukunda also from the perspective of the acharyas means one who gives liberation from all other attachments. We have so many attachments. Sarva dharman paritejya mamekam sharanam vraja. So liberation from all those different types of varieties of dharmas and one-pointed bhakti to Sri Krishna. That is even that verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein Kalo dosha nidhe rajan eko asti mahan guna kirtan eva krishnasya mukta sangha param vraje. Glorifying the holy name, Sukadeva Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj that this Kali-yuga is an ocean of faults. Dosha nidhe rajan. Kalo dosha nidhe rajan eko asti mahan gun. There is one great quality. What is that? Kirtan eva krishnasya. Only and certainly the Sankirtan of Lord Krishna. And what is the result? We will get liberation. Mukta Sangha. We will get, so serving Mukunda. Now, Mukunda, some people serve Mukunda, one of the names of Krishna, if they want liberation. But liberation, that means they want to go to the higher planetary systems, or they want to go to Vaikuntha and get liberation there. But the Vaishnavas, for them, Swargeshu, Narkeshu, Apavargeshu, Samatulya Darshana. For a pure Vaishnava, no matter where they are located, whether in the heavenly planets, whether even in the hellish planets, or Apavarga, meaning the spiritual abode, Apavargeshu, Samatulya Darshana. They look upon it equally as long as they can eternally serve, they can do their seva. So Mukta Sangha Param Vrajit. Then we will completely be detached with all kinds of material attachments. And the final result will be Param Vrajit. Param Vrajit means for the topmost destination. And what is that topmost destination? Vrajit also means Vraj. So this is very nicely explained by our acharyas as well. So after accepting the sannyas order, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to go to Vrindavan, and he wanted to do his bhajan. He had a particular purpose, and this purpose was already the external sort of purpose, we can say, of spreading the holy name. He had already, he wanted to do that and then go to Vrindavan. And Vrindavan, he would be immersed. The idea would be to get give inspiration, and also to serve Krishna, who is also known as Mukunda. There are two types of Vaishnavas, or even those who are sannyasis. One is known as a Bhajan Anandi, and the other one is known as a Goshti Anandi. Now, a Bhajan Anandi is one who actually takes to a lot of severe penances, and they do their bhajan in an isolated place, quietly. And when it is time to give up their bodies, they have already attained that perfection, and they go back home to God. And sometimes those bhajan anandis, when places like Vrindavan and the holy places, sometimes there are some visitors who come to them, and they give them some mercy through Hari Katha. But they do not travel. They take basically Kutichak sannyas. Kutichak means, when Kuti means a hut. They build a hut and they stay there, and that's their place. We find that many Vaishnavas, even sannyasis, they have vowed that they will never leave Vrindavan. So, which is a very good vow, undoubtedly. But there is another kind of Vaishnava who is known as Parivrajakacharyas, like Srila Prabhupada. They are known as Goshti Anandis. Goshti Anandis are those who, even at the personal comfort or discomfort rather, they are well settled in Vrindavan and other places of pilgrimage, but they go out and go to the world and they preach. They preach the holy names, they preach Sankirtan, they give Sankirtan to everyone. And that is considered a higher mood. And that is because totally, not only that, it's not for their own benefit, but it is the benefit of others. Prahlad Maharaj mentions that when Narsingadev Bhagwan says that, I'm so pleased with you, I'll give you a benediction. And we know in the seventh canto, 9th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj says that, my dear Narsingadev, I'm not a merchant that I want to ask you anything from you. But no, please ask me. So to please Narsingadev, he says, okay, if you want to give me something, my father was a great demon, please, give him some spiritual destinations for his own eternal well-being. That's already taken care of. That you don't even have to ask. 21 generations in the past and the future, it's been taken care of. So that's the advantage when we become devotees, when one becomes a devotee, even if our family members may not be conducive, they may even be as demoniac as Hiranyakashipu. But the Lord is so much inclined towards his devotee that the rest of his family members, the people, they get liberation. So sometimes we wonder, right, that we've taken to Krishna consciousness, my parents are not conducive, my brother or my sister, they're not conducive. Well, we can pray for them, we can give them as much as we can, but if they're not, then we should not commit Nam Aparad number 9. Preach the glories of the holy name or Sankirtan to faithless persons. So somehow or the other, give them prasadam, give them this, call them on special occasions, invite them for Janmashtami or other Govardhan Puja, etc., all different occasions, and leave them alone. Don't disturb them, because somehow or the other, they are not ready for it yet. But if we make sure that we follow very nicely the instructions of His Divine Grace Prabhupada and his sincere followers, then we will never go wrong, and we will become devotees. And because of that, Krishna will favor all the people, all the 21 generations, as in the case of, he mentioned, Krishna Prahlad Maharaj. So then he says that still, the benediction is still there. You have to ask me. So he said, okay, if you want to give me something, then I don't want to go to Vaikuntha. He offered him Vaikuntha. But I would rather stay here and serve my Guru Maharaj Naradji and assist him. Because there are so many millions of souls in this material world who are in need of Krishna consciousness. And how can I leave the company of my Guru? This is the real bhav of a Vaishnava. So he is Goshti Anandi, Prahlad Maharaj. Goshti Anandi is a service that Krishna really cherishes so much. In the Bhagavad Gita, he is also mentioned in the 18th chapter. There's no one as dear to me, one who speaks this confidential knowledge, one who preaches. Nobody in the past, present, or in the future, that person will be as dear to me as those persons who preach the message, my message. That means Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, etc. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu intended to go to Vrindavan, and like that. So Mahaprabhu, and this is, mind you, this is in Navadvip, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in Navadvip after actually taking sannyas. That place of sannyas was known as Katwa. And in Katwa, he took sannyas, and then he said, now it's more for me to dedicate fully mind, body, and soul. That is why we have 3 Dandi sannyas. In the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, if you see the staff of our sannyasis that they carry, there are 3 sticks, and they are wrapped in a saffron cloth, and they are tied on the top. What is the significance of the 3 sticks? Mana, Vacha, and Kaya. Serving the Supreme Lord fully with heart, meaning mana, mind, Vacha, with speech, and Kaya means with the whole body. Once one takes sannyas, then one is completely dedicated to the Supreme Lord. Even their own body is not their own body. That is the bhav of taking sannyas. It's a very high order in the Varnashram. So Mahaprabhu, while he was in ecstasy, just thinking that he's going to Vrindavan, and he was just simply kind of unmad, intoxicated, thinking of Vrindavan, and he was going. And then he saw some coward boys who were herding cows in that Navadvip area. So at that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually being followed by Nityananda Prabhu, Chandrasekhar Acharya, and he was also followed by Mukunda Prabhu. So while he was followed, when Mahaprabhu saw those coward boys in the distance, Nityananda Prabhu's arrangement was that he went and told the coward boys, tell Mahaprabhu that he is in Vrindavan. Because Mahaprabhu will come to you very soon and ask you the directions. Which way is the direction to Vrindavan Dham? So he says that, he said, the coward boy said that, please, when Mahaprabhu approached them, he says, you are in Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu, because it was the order of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu is none other than Lord Balram. Rajendra Nandan Sachishuta Hoilo Shei, Balram Hoilo Nitai. So they are non-different. They are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hence, for the purpose of enhancing the Leela, it's amazing. So, like that, Nityananda Prabhu tricks Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and eventually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to the direction of the Ganges, where the cowherd boys had pointed out. Now, in Vrindavan, it is the Jamuna. There is no Ganga in Vrindavan, right? So he reached the Ganges and actually reached the western side of Shantipur, which is the... So when he was worshipping the sacred river, thinking it is the Jamuna, Advaita Prabhu arrived in a boat. He arrived in a boat and Advaita Prabhu asked him to take his bath in the Ganga. So by mistake, he said Ganga. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Advaita, what are you doing here? This is Vrindavan. And even previously, when Nityananda Prabhu, along with the other two Vaishnavas, Chandrasekhar Acharya and Mukunda, Prabhu came, he says, what are you all doing in Vrindavan? And like that, Mahaprabhu was surprised. But when he blurted out that, please take a bath in the Ganga, he says, is this the Ganga? Oh, Nityananda Prabhu tricked me. So Advaita Acharya said, no, not really. Because actually there is a part, if you go take darshan in Navadvip and the Ganga, it is also known as the Jalangi. There are actually three rivers. One can, Ganga, Jamuna and Saraswati. But Saraswati you cannot see. Actually there are, it is subtle and you can actually feel the waters, they have a different color. Ganga is slightly lighter in color. Saraswati is extremely light and Yamuna is darkish. Although it is all Ganga, but because Navadvip is known as Chhana Vrindavan. Chhana Vrindavan means it is the secret Vrindavan. The secret of Vrindavan is manifest in the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. So then he said, no, he's not wrong. Actually, it is Jamuna, because that part of on the west bank of the Ganga is actually the Jamuna was flowing. And then he also said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that wherever you are, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya said, wherever you are, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that is Vrindavan. Now, who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Radha Krishna Nahi Anna. He is none other than Radha and Krishna. He is Nandanandan Krishna of Vraj in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So obviously, wherever they are, not only that, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Jatha Vaishnava Gane Sei Sthan Vrindavan. Wherever there is pure Vaishnava, that place becomes Vrindavan. So Srila Prabhupada came here yesterday. We heard his glories. It was his appearance. And he came here. He brought Vrindavan here in West Virginia. And thus it was known as New Vrindavan. Prabhupada, somebody said that, New Vrindavan, yes. And Prabhupada amusingly said that if there can be New England, New Jersey, New York, then why not New Vrindavan? And it is non-different because Srila Prabhupada came here. He invited Radha Vrindavan Chandra. So like this, we have to understand the mood of Advaita Acharya. And then Advaita Prabhu asked him to take a bath in the Ganga and took him to his house, because then he said, your Advaita Acharya tricked him. Mahaprabhu, now that you have taken a bath, your kopin, your garments are wet. So come, my house is not too far from here. And you can change there. And, and I have maybe, I have very simple offering, nothing very opulent, just a fistful of rice and some vegetables, knowing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taken sannyas. Because going to a grihastha's house for a sannyasi is really, very much forbidden. Of course, they can go simply to show their mercy, not to receive dakshina or not to have opulent foods. That is the instructions, as we can see in this chapter of Chaitanya. So they normally, the sannyasis or the Vaishnavas go to somebody's home is because to bestow their mercy. That's what Nanda Maharaj says in the Srimad Bhagavatam at the time. Actually, yesterday, Nanda Utsav, when Garga Muni came, and the Brahmin of the Yadukul, and who, of course, saw the who actually compiled the astrological chart of Krishna, Nanda Maharaj offers him obeisances. And he says, actually, you come to our householders' houses for giving us your mercy. So that is the respect Nanda Maharaj himself showed to Guru. Because Gargamuni is the Brahman. He's like a Guru for all the Vrajvasis. So, like this, when finally Mahaprabhu agreed, Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, and I think it was Mukunda, they all four went to Advaita Acharya's house, but Mukunda and Sri Haridas Thakur waited outside. Because they knew, that is one of the things that, Vaishnava etiquette is, when there is some confidential pastimes, or when very senior Vaishnavas are involved and where they're going to have a conversation, then naturally the rest of the Vaishnavas on their own accord, they should take a step back and give them their privacy and give them their room. That way they can have their confidential talks, because in general public they cannot talk and they cannot have their confidential discussions. So this is one of the philosophical points and Vaishnava etiquettes. So they said that we will stay outside, you go inside. And then Nityanand Prabhu and Mahaprabhu were taken by the hand, and Advaita Acharya takes them and takes them in the inner room where the deities were. And there was, he performed arti of the deities. And then Advaita Acharya offered opulent bhoga, opulent bhoga to the deities. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very satisfied seeing that. Hare Krishna. Rasoham apso kaunteya. I am the taste in the water, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. So, seeing that, Mahaprabhu was pleased. Yes, all these preparations are for the deity. Then he has them sit down in a dining area of the house, and he starts serving prasad. And all that opulent prasad, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says that it is not proper for a sannyasi to eat such variety of foods. Bhalona peribe, bhalona khaibe. For a sannyasi, they should not be eating opulent foods and they should not be wearing opulent clothes. Now, it's a different story. When His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada came, according to time, place, and circumstances, he accepted the seva of the disciples and Vaishnavas, or even the common public, because if they gave something to a sadhu, they would benefit. It is not that Prabhupada needed a Rolex watch or Prabhupada needed some gifts, but Prabhupada accepted that for our benefit. Somebody who is already way beyond the bodily concept, he is not attracted to material things. But when we give a Vaishnava, it is who benefits, it's we who tend to benefit. So there is a fine line, but we cannot imitate. Can we give the kripa of Prabhupada, that what kind of mercy he gave? No, we cannot. So then we have to be very careful. Then we have to become strict sadhaks. So even if we are taking, if some of us in the future, or those who have taken sannyas, then they have to be very careful of that ashram. These are the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. While they are seated, an opulent, some or the other, he convinces Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that I know who you are. Please don't pretend. Advaita Acharya now kind of, chastises like a grandfatherly figure to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You must have this, and then like this, he convinces him and he starts, with the prasadam, and then he fills the full bowls and with so many opulent items, and Mahaprabhu eats a little, and when Mahaprabhu is looking the other way, he fills it again. And like that, he keeps on filling, and it's as if unlimited bhoga, and with so many opulent items are being served. Nityanand Prabhu is looking at Advaita Acharya and says, this is not enough for me. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so he's teasing. This wonderful pastime is so much that there's joking going on. So then Advaita Acharya tells Nityanand Prabhu, you are an avdut. That is basically, you are even beyond the sannyas order. You should not be caring about your eating or your sleeping or your other any other habits. From what I understand, you're an avdut and you are asking for opulent food. What kind of an avdut you are? So like this, There's a mocking conversation and Mahaprabhu is silently enjoying it. And then Nityananda Prabhu says, and then that, you are a grihastha. It is your job when a sannyasi or sadhu comes to feed them properly. So you must feed me properly. And then Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya says that you are, unlimited. Where am I going to get a poor Brahmin like me to feed you so much? So they go back and forth. And then Advaita Acharya says that you, Avdut, Nityananda, Ram, you are the one who actually gives a hard time to all the Brahmins. And you are giving this poor Brahmin a hard time. So like this, and then Nityananda Prabhu displays some anger and he throws some rice on Advaita Acharya, And Advaita Acharya is like in ecstasy. The moment the rice touched by Lord Nityananda fell on his body, Advaita Acharya started dancing in ecstasy. So like this, those wonderful exchanges happened. And when the people of Shantipur heard that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was staying there at Advaita Acharya's house, they all immediately came to see his lotus feet. As soon as it was evening, Advaita Acharya began the Sankirtan, congregational chanting with all the devotees. He even began to dance himself in ecstasy. We can see that wonderful Panchatattva along with the Navadvip residents, how in Sankirtan they are in ecstasy. Sri Advaita Acharya would say that many, many days have passed and you escaped me by bluffing. He would invite Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please come to my home. Advaita Acharya would fervently would request, and Mahaprabhu would make some excuse. But now I have you in my home. I will keep you bound up. I will keep you bound up. Advaita Acharya is that great personality who actually brought Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to this world for the sake of us, for our sake. Sri Sarvabhaumacharya, one of the acharyas in Jagganatha Puri, under the kingdom of King Prataprudra, he got special mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed him his forms, the Shadabhuj forms, and then he gave him his mercy. He was a Brahmavadi, more or less like a Mayavadi, merging into the Brahman, merging into the light, merging into the energy. That is the ultimate goal. But Mahaprabhu, he made him a pure Vaishnava. Just like Srila Prabhupada, he is Gauravani Pracharine, preaching Gauravani, the words of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as it is, the Sankirtan movement in that pure mood. And that is the reason Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. He was able to deliver even the most ardent Mayavadis, Nirvisesh, Shunyavadis, like the Buddhists, and the persons from the Western culture who are so much engrossed in the material way of life. So, like this, he had prayed fervently, sitting on the banks of the Ganges with his Shaligram Shila. Hunkar garjanadi ahoratra sadaguna ha Krishna radhika nath prarthana bhavana dhupa deepa kasturi cha chandanadi lepana ha Sita nath advaita char naravinda bhavana. There are 8 verses that Sarvabhaumacharya himself composed glorifying Sri Advaita Acharya. That how he called upon Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ha Krishna Radhika Natha. Ha, he cried. Ha, like in pain. Please come down, O Radhika Natha, O Radha Raman. Ha Krishna Radhika Natha. Prarthana bhava sadaguna, with a lot of fervent prayers. Dhupa deepa, he prayed, he offered the lamp, he offered the dhup, the incense, kasturi, very wonderful musk, kasturi, chandana, adi lepana, and with sandalwood pulp, he cried. And he also Gangavari, Manovari, he offered the tulsi manjari, he offered the Ganges water, the tulsi manjaris were offered to him, and along with that his own tears, he offered them to the Shaligram Shila. asking Mahaprabhu, please come. It is time for you. Save the souls. That is Sri Advaita Acharya. So he says, now I'm not going to let you go. I'm going to bind you. Krishna is bound by the love of his devotees. What is that verse of the Damodarashtakam? Idam te vapurnatham gopala badam sada me manasi. Prior to that, he says, Tatha prema bhaktim swakam me prayacha. By the love, they're bound. Namami Ishwaram Satchitananda Rupam Lasata Kundalam Gokule Vrajamanam Yashoda Bhiyul Khalad Dhavamanam Paramishtam Atyanta Tato Dhurta Gopya Rudantam Muhur Netra Yugmam Rijantam Karam Bhoja Yugmena Satanka Netra Muhusashakam Pat Rire Khanka Kanta Stita Graiva Damodara Bhakti Baddam. Bound by the love, pure love of Mother Yashoda, he allowed himself to be tied. So, and then in this wonderful Sankirtan, Mukunda, who was a very, very wonderful Kirtanya, he started singing verses that fanned Mahaprabhu's mood of separation. And in this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself danced in the house of Advaita Acharya non-stop for 3 hours. And sometimes the symptoms of ecstasy were visible in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, including pleasureness or moroseness. Moroseness due to the deep separation. For 10 continuous days, Advaita Acharya held feasting and chanting in the evening, and he served the Lord in that way. Then more Navadvip devotees came along with who? With Sachi Mata, the mother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, again, we have to remind ourselves that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already taken sannyas. Now, understanding that Lord Chaitanya had accepted the renounced order, Sachi Mata started crying and said to the Lord, my darling Nimai, oh Nimai, do not be cruel like your brother Vishwarup. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had her elder brother known as Vishwarup. And she said, after accepting the sannyas, he left home and he never showed his face again. So if you do what he did, I will certainly die. Sachi Mata said that. And Sachi Mata did not have her husband, Jagannath Mishra. He had already left for the to Golok Dham. Actually, Jagannath Mishra is none other than Nanda Maharaj. And Sachi Mata is Yashoda Devi. In the Chaitanya Leela, we find that. And who else? Who is King Vrishabhanu in Chaitanya Leela? Anybody knows? Yes, Pundrika Vidyanidhi. Pundrika Vidyanidhi is none other than King Vrishabhanu, the father of Radharani. So Mother Sachi said that, and then Mahaprabhu hearing mothers crying and saying that, just if you do what your Vishwarup did and you took sannyas and if you never show your face again, I will certainly die. So Mahaprabhu said, this body was raised by you, oh Ma, oh Mother. I cannot repay this debt even in millions and millions of births. So my dear Mother, whatever you ask me, wherever you ask me to stay, I will stay. And whatever you order, I shall execute. So like this, he leaves it to his mother. Of course, knowing that his mother would not do the wrong thing. So Mother Sachi Devi, first of all, begged all the Vaishnavas that as long as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my son Nimai is in the house of Advaita, let me cook for him. So they granted that. And then Mother Sachi cooked every day for the next 10 days. And in the evening, there was mass Sankirtan at the house of Advaita Acharya. Who all came in that? Srivas Acharya, Ramai Pandit, Vidyanidhi, Gadadhar Pandit, Gangadas, Vakreshwar Pandit, Murari Gupta, Shuklambar Acharya, Buddhimanta Khan, all those guys, Nanda Nandana, Sridhara, Vijaya, Vasudev, Datta, Damodar, Mukunda, and Sanjaya. We sing that in the evening Aarti. Sanjaya Mukunda Vasu Goshaya Digaya. So all these different associates, they came and the Sankirtan, this whole house of Advaita Acharya became like Vaikuntha. Mother Sachi gave Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu permission to leave. She said that I am not going to, inhibit you, because, what will the society say? You have already taken sannyas, and to come back home or to stay with your family, it's not good. So I give you permission and see. But she said, I have one request. You should stay close by to Navadvip. It's not too far, in Jagganatha Puri and in Nilachal, basically. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu granted his mother's request, because she said that many devotees will be frequently visiting from Navadvip, Mayapur to Jagganatha Puri, back and forth. So at least I will get your news. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so that way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu honored her mother's request, and that way his sannyas was not disturbed. And then during the Sankirtan, Mother Sachi noticed that Mahaprabhu in his ecstasy would fall down with a lot of force on the ground. And then Sachi Mata would pray. He would pray that, "Oh Vishnu, please protect my son. He's in his ecstasy, he falls down and he probably will get hurt." So that was the mother's blessings. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu really felt really hard. If one remembers Alarnath, and anybody knows, that is very close to Jagannath Puri, about 30 kilometers. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went for Rath Yatra at that time, in that season, Lord Jagannath was in Anasar, meaning he had displayed the pastimes of falling sick. So Mahaprabhu could not get darshan. So he was very disappointed. So, but Jagannath spoke to him. He said, you can get my darshan not too far. Go to the Alarnath temple. And Alarnath temple is about 30 kilometers away, very close to Rai Ramanand's house. Very, very beautiful, very serene village. When you go to Puri, please take darshan for those who have not taken. And there in front of the Alarnath deities, there's a 4-round form of Lord, not different from Lord Jagannath or Krishna. Mahaprabhu performed ecstatic kirtan just looking at Lord Alarnath, and he fell to the floor on a hard stone. And it is said that the impression of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was left behind. Even today, when you go there, you can see that the stone had melted. His lotus head, his hands, his feet are all as if they are sculpted into that stone in front of the deity. So, like that, perhaps it was the blessings. I'm sure it is the blessings of Sachi Mata that if he falls on the ground like that, like a crazy man, please protect him. Oh Lord. So these were the blessings Sachi Mata gave. So like this, she said that, if I have any pious deeds or any bhakti, oh Krishna, please protect him. And she prayed like that. So, and Mother Sachi overwhelmed and begged in charity that as long as Mahaprabhu was Advaita Acharya's house, she would be cooking, as mentioned. Mahaprabhu was a bit agitated when his mother started, getting so attached to him. So after accepting sannyas, it is not the duty. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells everyone, the whole crowd, to remain in this birthplace encircled by his relatives, because then that attachment will never go away. As a matter of fact, for a sannyasi, his relatives are the entire world. It's everybody are his relatives in one sense, because they are equipoised and they give their mercy to everyone. So that's how Srila Prabhupada did. That's how why he left Vrindavan, to give his mercy, to give the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauravani. So that's the reason why make some arrangement so that I do not leave you, and at the same time, people may not blame me for remaining with relatives after taking sannyas. So sannyas, one has to be very careful. Srila Prabhupada himself set that example. And perhaps Apurva Prabhu can confirm this. I think it was in Bombay, and his own sister, Pishima, they used to lovingly call her, and she would come visit and she would like to cook for Prabhupada, just like Sachi Mata wanted to cook for Mahaprabhu. So sometimes she would come inhibited into Srila Prabhupada's quarters, and she would come, and Prabhupada and all the Prabhupada disciples respectfully would get up and leave. thinking that, the sister of Srila Prabhupada would want to discuss something, but Prabhupada would make at least one disciple sit down. You please sit down. A sannyasi is not supposed to be alone with any woman. He was his own sister, and Bhavatarani Mata, that was her name, but they lovingly call her Pishima. Pishima means Mausi in Bangla. Mausi. In Hindi is Mausi. Pishima, I'm translating that into Hindi. Mausi. The aunt, basically. It means auntie. So he set that example. Prabhupada is so advanced, even at that age, even if we look at his advanced age, and Pishima also was slightly younger to him. So they are both elderly people, and they're beyond the bodily concept, both of them. Great Vaishnavas, Vaishnava and Vaishnavi. They did not need any kind of supervision, but no, to set an example. He says, no, sannyasi should never stay or talk to women. And that is the same thing for brahmacharis. Very strict, they should follow. Otherwise, there will be fall down, patan. All these things are. So she requested that you stay in Puri and so on. So now there is actually a very, very deep reason. Whenever there is some Leela of the Lord, there is multifarious Leelas going on and some very confidential. Why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why did Sachi Mata ask him to settle down in his sannyas order in Jagganatha Puri? So the external reason is that he'll be close by and the news will come. Devotees will be visiting from Navadvip quite often, and she will get the news of her son. But the internal reason is that Sachi Mata is none other than Yashoda Mai, knows her son's heart. Actually, Mahaprabhu came for an internal reason. What are the three internal reasons besides the Sankirtan, spreading the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? The internal reason was to glorify Radharani's prem. Number one. Number two, to taste his own beauty. And number three, what does Radharani feel? What kind of love she feels for me? Now, in order to feel that, to understand this concept, I have a very simple example. Supposing if there is a little baby and it was on the mother's lap, and the mother is shaking her lap, and the baby is giggling, and the mother, seeing the baby giggle, the mother is also so happy and she laughs. And then the baby further responds by laughing louder, and the mother is in ecstasy seeing the baby and such. So it is like, mutual. But the ecstasy that the baby is feeling and the mother is feeling is different. In order to understand what that baby is feeling, the mother has to become a baby and vice versa, just to understand that. But of course, it is Krishna. So Krishna, in order to understand what Radharani feels for him, he had to take the mood of Sri Radha. Otherwise, he would have never been able to understand the prema that Radharani had. And that was his ultimate goal. For 12 years in straight in Jagganatha Puri and chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nama Chintamani, the holy name, is like a kalpa vriksha. It is like a desire tree. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had an internal desire to get the mood of Radha. So he himself takes ashray of the holy name. 12 years, day and night, he chanted in the Gambhira, in a very small room. And that was fanned by his most two intimate associates of Radha Krishna, Lalita and Vishakha, in the form of Rai Ramananda and Swarup Damodar. Confidential. So knowing Sachi Mata said Jagannath Puri, and Jagannath Puri is known as Viyogini Radha Kshetra. What is it known as? Viyogini Radha. Viyogini means Radharani feels the utmost separation from Krishna. In full separation, she feels that bhav. And that separation is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ultimately, when he attains the bhav of Radharani, he feels separation from himself, which is Krishna. And that is what the Chaitanya Sastastakam is all about, that the holy names not only cleanses, but ultimately the last two verses where Yugaitam Nimishena Chakshusha Pravashaitam Shunaitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahena Me Ashlisha Padartam Pinashtumam Adarshanam Marma Harto Karotu Va Yata Tata Va Vidato Lampato Mat Prananatha Sevanapara. That separation is so acute that getting the mood of Radharani, he says that every moment feels like a millennium. In your separation, O Govinda, he's already obtained the mood of Radharani. And further, he says that whether it's your own desire, whether you kick me or you embrace me, you are the transcendental autocrat. But indeed, you are my birth after birth, you are my life and soul. That's what Radharani always, even when he left Vrindavan, 112 or 113 years of separation. Krishna left Vrindavan when he was only 12. And Krishna performed his pastimes for 125 years. So that is the mood. That is the reason it is known as the Vyogini Radha Kshetra. And like that, bidding farewell, they proceeded to Jagganatha Puri, Nityananda Prabhu, and with some of his associates, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, as described in today's verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested all of them to return home, all the devotees who had gathered in Advaita Acharya's house, please. And the instructions were chant the holy name. Chant the holy name, Sankirtan. Sankirtan means what? Congregational chanting is one meaning, but there is a deeper meaning of the word Sankirtan that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains. Samyak Kirtan iti Sankirtan. Samyak means full, complete. And full and complete means what? In the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the line of the Gaudiya Vaishnava, complete Sankirtan means glorifying Radha and Krishna. Because there are many devotees who just want to glorify Krishna, like for example, Mirabai, right? Mere to Girdhar Gopal, Duja na koi. She has written many, many songs. But she actually has a different bhav in the sense that bhav is there of Madhurya Rasa, but that bhav to serve Radharani is missing. She is a competitor of Radharani. And in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, we do not accept that. No competition. Raghunath Das Goswami, he was so austere that on Radha Kund, he used to chant 18, 19 hours a day, hardly slept 1.5 hours. And he used to only take a buttermilk as his meal. And one day, one devotee brought in a dona, in a cup leaf, some buttermilk. And when Raghunath Das Goswami saw, he threw that buttermilk with that cup in disgust. Get away from me. I don't want to see you. And perplexed, what? I'm trying to serve. Why is he acting like so erratic? So he said, this leaf that the buttermilk is that you're serving me has come from Chandravali's Kund. She is a competitor of Radharani. I don't want to see anything or anything to do with Chandravali. It has come from the forest of Chandravali. So that is the bhav. But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, time is so short. There is so much nectar in this verse. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that in one of his bhajan lalsa, that dekhi de bhuli bo vakabe nijastula sarira nayane heri bo vrajapura shobha nitya chid ananda mohe vrishabhanu pure janama hoilo yavate viva hoy. He says that when will my bodily concept completely be eradicated? And then when I will be purified and when I get my original form, it is my request that I be born in Vrishabhanupur. I be born in Barsana. Why? Because I will be able to touch Radharani, serve Radharani when she is very little. And then when Radharani grows up, she will get married in a little town called Yavat. He's also, because he's in the mood of a gopi, a manjari, he's also desiring that whenever Radharani gets married in Yavat, even I would like to get married in Yavat. So I will follow Radharani and serve her. So that is Radha Dasyam is the ultimate goal of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And when we serve Radharani nicely, Krishna is pleased. And if Krishna is pleased, Radharani is pleased. So this is an amazing Achintya Veda Veda type of a situation. So like this, Prabhupada says that this cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Hare Krishna movement, is very nicely explained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Everyone can execute this cult of Krishna consciousness at home. And I will end in a couple of minutes. There is one wonderful verse that actually, that is even a conversation between Rai Ramananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Madhya Leela 8th chapter. And in that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kind of rejects all the different proposals that Rai Ramananda makes when actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks Rai Ramananda, tell me what is the goal of life? And you must tell me based on scriptural evidence. You have to quote slokas from the Shastra. So Rai Ramananda starts quoting verses from the Bhagavad Gita, Yad karosi, yad asnasi, whatever you do, you offer it to me. Brahma bhuta prasannatma, na sochati, na kankshati. One who is situated on the transcendental platform never hankers after anything. And he looks upon everybody equally. That's the way to perform bhakti. And then Mahaprabhu says, Iho bhaiyo, aage kaho, tell me more. This is external. Then he goes to the verse of Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja, the summum bonum of Bhagavad Gita, in one sense. Give up all varieties of religion and surrender unto me only, and I will take care of all your sinful reactions. Right? Do not fear, Arjun. So that also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejects. He says, Iho bhaiyo, this is external. He rejects it. Now that is amazing because the mood of Mahaprabhu is of a very, very high nature. So then he starts speaking of what Prabhupada is mentioning here. Sthane sthita shruti gatam tanova manobir prayena ajito api jito api asi taistri lokyam. When we serve, wherever we are situated, in whatever ashram, whether at home or wherever, sthane sthita. Sthane means wherever you are situated. One need not take sannyas. That's the point Srila Prabhupada is making. Sthane sthita. One should shruti gatam, hear about Krishna, and dedicate your complete tanu, vag, manobhir. With your mind, body, and soul, one should completely dedicate their lives to Krishna wherever you are situated. And then what is the result? Prayena ajito api asi taistrai lokyam. One can conquer Krishna who is known as Ajit. Ajit means one who cannot be conquered. Ajito jito api va. One can even conquer Krishna who is unconquerable by the love. So Sanatana Goswami makes a wonderful commentary on this particular verse where he says, Ajito means for the non-believers or the materialists, they can never conquer Krishna. But for those who are devotees, they can conquer Krishna with their love. Krishna is known as Bhakta Vatsal. But for those Vrajvasis, those who have so much prem, he is Bhakta Vashya. The term is Bhakta Vashya. Vash means he gets controlled by his devotees. So that is the difference between the ordinary devotees who worship Krishna in opulence or in awe and reverence, and the Vrajvasis. So Prabhupada is saying, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was recommending all the persons who had all the devotees gathered, please go home and perform Sankirtan, read Srimad Bhagavatam, hear Hari Katha, and speak Hari Katha. So Jare Dekho Dare Koho Krishna Updesh. Thank you all very much. I know I went a little bit over my time, but this verse was so compelling that I thought I will kind of, expound on it, because Chaitanya Leela is such that it is just amazing. If I had another 4 hours, perhaps I could have continued. But thank you again. I think we will take those who want to take prasad, please proceed. But if there's somebody who has any questions or comments, please feel free to go ahead. Where? Okay, so the prasadam is in the community hall. So yes, Mataji, is there a microphone available? Yeah, is there a microphone available? Yeah, Kripamay Prabhu, Mataji.
You mentioned about Krishna well, he feels that it is happening. So, a whole time, 100 years ago, I would shake your hands, that he would come to reality.
Actually, Krishna never left Vrindavan. Ekam padam na gachanti Vrindavan. He was always there in the bhav state, even giving them bhav state, giving them separation. And separation makes you feel that he is there. Like the gopis and Radharani hugged the tamal tree, thinking it is Krishna in separation. So that acute separation, doesn't actually, it's very difficult to understand. They make the constant feeling that Krishna is here, thinking of Krishna always in separation. And that is the concept which is unique in the Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Even amongst the other four or other three bona fide sampradayas, we don't find that uniqueness. So,
and then when he was there,
yes, that is called prema vaivarta. That's the kind of prem. Prem also has many, many delineations. We say, most of us, what is your ultimate goal? Krishna prema, right? But Krishna prema is divided into many categories. Rup Goswami describes that in his literatures. There is the prema of Nanda Maharaj in Yashoda Mai. That is snigdha prema. It is soft. There is the prema of the coward boys. That is madhur prema. And all that different. And even within the conjugal love, there is different premas. Where there is the prema of the mana, where Radharani goes into sulkiness. That's a very high prema. And then there is raga, anuraga, bhava, mahabhav. And then Radharani has the highest, which no other gopis can have, madanakya and mohanakya bhav. So these are the different levels of prema that are there. So, and that is acutely felt in separation. The higher the mood of separation, the higher the prema is. It gets. So.
There's no temple, is that right?
Sorry?
There's no temple in the Falls?
No, there is no temple yet. Yeah. I do mostly a lot of programs online and I travel. So I go to different places wherever the opportunity arises, when the devotees are kind, I just, take that engagement. Yes, actually, Mataji, I have a website called Bhakti Vedanta Bhagavad Group. It is called bhagavad.ca, BHAGA. CA, BHAGAVATA, GA, Bhagavad.ca, and also it's the same domain, pureseva.ca, which is very easy to remember. So no spelling errors, PURESEVA.ca. So I've been blessed with many Vaishnavas, Vaishnava Prabhupada, the books of the Acharyas, whatever little I can scratch on the surface, I try to share with devotees. So especially during COVID, I was able to do many, many classes online. So, and different subjects, and there are also some of them are categorized, like there's Chaitanya Sistastakam, Damodarashtakam, and some of them are like even the Samsara Davanal prayers. I think I have 17 sessions on those. On Chaitanya Sistastakam, there is 22 sessions. Damodarashtakam, there is several sessions on that. In Kartik, I've done I've done a session, 2-day seminar on Prabhupada's in Vrindavan, Krishna Balaram Mandir, on Srila Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra, Namam Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale. So, yes, Mataji, all you have to do is go on all lectures and then it will take you to the topics. And there are also lectures date-wise. So bless me. You're a Prabhupada disciple, Prabhuji, your husband also, that I can continue this seva till the last breath of my life. I have a small thing that I do online, Well, honestly, it's all done through Shravanam, Mataji. most of it. Nowadays I don't really read much. I should be. But bless me that I can, go enter deep into that ocean. So thank you again.
One other, it's just an addition, not a correction, but for proper Vaishnava behavior, one should never ever be alone in a room except with his wife.
Correct.
It would save
Yes.
so many problems.
Yeah. Can you repeat that, because there's an audience online? If you can repeat that statement, wonderful statement Apurva Prabhu is making. His Grace Apurva Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji.
That one should never be alone in the room with anyone except his wife. This is demonstrated in the story also by Chaitanya, when one of his disciples wanted to speak with him alone, and he said, "No, I cannot do that."
Yes, that is the proper etiquette. Unfortunately, nowadays we see in many temples, I don't know why, the males start hugging the females, and that is not permitted. Prabhupada, if he was present, he would really be very, very upset. We see that on festivals. We see that. I have personally seen it, and even they dance together. They even sit together. It's not permitted because the senses are so strong. Krishna, Arjuna says, prasabham manaha. Even if you don't want to, it really, the mind is so agitated that it can, just, take you away. So we have to be very careful. Except with our wife, we should be very careful. And that is why Prabhupada said all other ladies, even the younger ones than us, they're called Matajis. We give them the respect of a mother. So the moment when we say somebody mother, then there is no thoughts of lust. There's no thoughts of lust. So.
Children, so we're like brothers and sisters.
Yeah. So, Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. All glories to His Divine Krishna Prabhupada. Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Oh, okay. Yes, I can do that. Yes.
I thought you'd ask for sponsors. No.
Hare Krishna.
May I just ask who your guru is? Radha Govinda Swami. No.
Nityalila Pravishta Bhakti Charu Swami.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But you are all my gurus,
And,
my Siksha gurus. I learn from everyone.
good.
As long as it is in line with what Srila Prabhupada speaks, I am their servant.
24 gurus.
I always learn something.
Yeah.
So,
You learn what not to do.
yeah, what not to do. Yes, yes.
And do you listen to Radha Govinda Swami?
I do.
Oh, because
He is one of my Siksha
speak
gurus.
Sindhi, so
Yes.
I never do, but
Very
I
exalted
just know
Vaishnava.
Amarendra and co-son Krishna.
Yes.
I asked, where did you read this? I listened to my guru. They listen to him. Guy, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
You have more disciples than him?
He is my dear,
Your dear disciple.
not my disciple.
Yeah,
Uh,
Shiksha disciple.
yeah, you can.
Yeah. And in the old days, all my children were kind of like this.
Yes, beta. Hare Krishna.